So, you want to play muskets, don't you? Well, there's some things you need to know first. Namely, the boss monsters. Zakiel. This guy's bad. Don't play him. Next, Starfire. Starfire's good. You should play her. Here is Calamity. Here to bring Calamity. Here is Caspar, one of the better ones. Here's Kid Brave. Kid Brave is very brave. Here's Starfire again. Starfire is, again, very good. Here is Wild. Forgot his name. Here is Caspar and Zakiel tag teaming. And here is Kid Brave once more. And of course, we have Fiendsmith.
What is going on, guys? Rogue TCG here, bringing another Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG deck profile you all voted for, and I'm very excited to bring it to you. Here is Magical Musketeers. Now, this deck is super sick. The Muskets are basically an archetype of light fiends that have the ability to activate the effects depending on if spells or traps are activated in the same column as them. Now, these effects can vary from special summoning a musket from our deck with a different name than itself, or adding a musket card from deck to hand, or adding a musket card from graveyard back to hand, especially a musket from graveyard, or even putting a musket card from our hand into the graveyard to draw 2 cards. The amounts that we're going to be playing with the muskets that do these various things, of course, are going to be very different, but that is generally what the idea of the deck is to be activating spells in kind of like a spell slingery aspect in order to control the game and grind it to a halt, for your opponent at least. So that's basically the idea of the deck. So let me break down the card by card and let me tell you what I hope this deck could do. Starting off in our main deck, we are on triple copies of Magical Musketeer Starfire. This is the one that if something activated in column, that we can special summon a musket from our deck other than herself. Really strong card, just incredibly strong. Being able to get an extra extender off of it is great. And then all the muskets are also going to have the effect where if they're on your field, you can activate magical musket spells and traps from your hand as if they were like hand traps, for example, which just makes the strategy so incredibly strong. So we're on 3 of Starfire. Next 3 of, we are on a triple Magical Musketeer Caspar. This is the one where if something's activated in column, we get to add a musket spell or trap with a different name than if we activated a musket thing in column. So this is just a way to get a musket card, not even just spell trap, just any monster as well. So this card is great, so we are playing 3 of this one as well. We are on double Magical Musketeer Dock. This is the one that adds a musket card from graveyard back to hand, other than itself. The main idea is you want to get Caspar and Dock on the field at the same time, because Caspar can add from deck to hand, and the Dock can add from graveyard to hand. So essentially, we can activate something under Caspar to add something, and then activate the something that we added under Dock to add back the thing we just activated under Caspar, to just maintain resources and outgrind our opponent. So we are on 2 Dock for that purpose. And then our last 2 muskets, we are on 1 Magical Musketeer Kid Brave. This is the one that can discard a musket card to draw 2. And then 1 Magical Musket Calamity. This is the one that can special 1 from graveyard. These are mostly just here for names, to be completely honest. We don't really plan on activating their on-field effect, but we do just need additional muskets other than our main ones. So we are just playing these 2 because these ones have the best other beneficial effects. That's it for our Magical Musket monsters. Now let's get to our spells and traps for Magical Muskets. We are on triple Magical Musket Cross Domination. This is like an infinite impermanence if it also changed the attack and defense of the monster and negated to 0. So really great card, just negation, and since it changes the attack value, we can activate it in the damage step, which is great. We are on double Magical Musket Last Stand. This is a counter trap, so our opponent can only respond to it with counter traps of their own. This one negates a spell or trap. This one's really great for interacting with opponents who have established boards already. So we are playing 2 of this because it is very searchable. We are on double Magical Musket Despacito. This is quite literally just a Trident. We can target 1 face-up card on the field and destroy it. So this is really good, especially if we are dealing with floodgates. This is our main way to out it. So we are playing 2 of that because, again, it is searchable. We are on double Dancing Needle. This is like DD Crow on crack, as someone in 2019 put it. This card basically targets 3 cards in either graveyard and banishes them, and it's up to 3, so we can choose like 1 or something. But in this meta, this card is very, very strong, so I am main decking 2 copies of it. If you don't feel like you need to be too concerned about the graveyard, this is a perfectly fine card to be playing 1 copy of as well. And then lastly, this is a personal preference choice. We are on 1 Magical Musket Crooked Crown. This essentially lets us special a musket from our hand, but it also lets us play around stuff like Book of Eclipse and Nibiru. If when our opponent activates either or, we can activate this, choose not to activate the effect, because this doesn't need an effect to actually special a musket from our hand. So this can make sure we end with a musket on board at bare minimum. So Crooked Crown is very good, especially if we think our opponent has one of those cards. But that's it for our musket cards, and I know I said at the very beginning of the deck profile that they were light fiends, so unfortunately you do know what that comes with and what territory that falls into. We of course are on triple Fiendsmith Engraver. We can pitch this from hand to graveyard to add a Fiendsmith card spell trap from deck to hand. Incredibly strong effect. And we can bring it back from the graveyard by shuffling a light fiend from our graveyard into our deck or extra deck. Again, magical muskets are full of those, so really great. And it also removes cards on fields if something's equipped with an equipped card. At least a link monster is equipped to a card. So Engraver is crazy, and I don't think I really need to be saying anything about that if you look at the current meta. Of course, we are following with the one Fabled Lurie. This is just a great discard. Even if we open it, we can go one of our 3 copies of Fiendsmith Tract. I know most builds are only playing 1 copy, but that's the Snake Eye builds, because this card actually adds any light fiend from your deck to your hand, including our magical muskets. So this is just reinforcement of the army for our magical musket cards, as well as poly to get into disarray, which is really great. Or if we even wanted to go, we could go into Lacrima as well. Both are incredibly great in our archetype. So we are on triple Fiendsmith Tract, as well as 1 Fiendsmith Sanct. Most builds are not playing this again, but since we are musket, we can only activate this if we control only light fiends, and it just gives us a token. And if a Fiendsmith card on our field is destroyed, we can set it from our graveyard to our field. Just an incredible value engine, and this is incredibly valuable to be activating underneath of a musket to get a token and then get that musket's effect. So just a really great card, especially if we've already activated Tract in the turn. We can still search that with the Fiendsmith if we have the availability to do so. Well, that's it for our Fiendsmith cards. Now let's get into our generic cards. We are on triple Link into the Vrains. You'll see the Link monster I'm going to be referring to later, but this card function lets us summon a card from our hand, immediately Link summon using cards we control, including that monster we just summoned, and then our opponents cannot respond to can't respond to the summon of the card. This is the card we're going to be summoning, pretty much. They can't respond to the summon of the card, and they can't respond to the effects of the card on the summon, or any effects on the summon regardless. So if we activate, let's say for example, Link Into the Vrains underneath the musket, and we summon a musket and then go into max, we can go max Chainlink 1 and the musket Chainlink 2, and our opponent can't respond to any of that. And it also has a cute effect when a Link monster dies, it also does float somewhat. So Link Into the Vrains is really crazy, and it's our way to beat established boards, provided we open a musket as well. For hand trap prevention, we're actually very deep into hand trap prevention because we're in a very hand trap heavy format at the moment. We are on 1 triple Tactics Talents, 1 Called by the Grave, and triple Cross Out Designator. I really like triple Cross Out Designator. It has come up very frequently. This is also just a card we can activate in the column of our muskets to just get them to do something, basically translating the minus we get by activating this for nothing into net neutral because our musket is able to get their effect off. So even if we are just activating it to activate it, it is not the worst, and we can even call a card that might even come up later when you'll see when we cover our hand traps. Speaking of which, hand traps. We are on double Infinite Impermanence, double Droll and Lockbird, double Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, double Effect Veiler, double Ghost Mourner and Moonlit Chill, and 1 copy of Nibiru the Primal Being. This is the main thing we're going to be calling if we cross out and our opponent hasn't done anything really. We're going to be calling Nibiru just to play around that. But all of these cards we would love to see, except for maybe him. But these are also all great cross out targets if our opponent uses any of these cards against us. So we are also fulfilling our requirement of playing a lot of hand traps, a variety of hand traps, and we're playing all the cross out targets. This list is going to be a lot more cards than most lists typically are. I think we are already close to 46 at this point. So let us go over our last 2 cards. Our last 2 cards, of course, are going to be, since we are playing a Fiend deck, we are on 1 Unchained Soul of Sharvara and 1 Escape of the Unchained to provide additional interactions against our opponent, even if they have interacted with our setup. But that's about it for our main deck. Now let us head to our extra deck. In our extra deck, we are on double copies of Magical Musketeer Max. This card basically serves double duty for the deck. When we're going turn 1, we are just making this because it's an additional light fiend that we can put in our graveyard so we can cycle a little bit more effectively with our Fiendsmith cards. And if we're going second, Magical Musketeer Max is our win condition. If we summon it, we can choose one of two effects. Based on the number of spells our opponents controls, like at the moment or at resolution, we can special summon magical musket monsters with different names from our deck, up to the number of spells and traps they control, or based on the amount of monsters they control, we can add magical musketeer spells and traps from our deck to our hand. So this can basically soul charge straight from deck, or search for like up to 6. So this card is absolutely insane, and if it resolves, the game is most likely over. We are also on Fiendsmith cards of double Fiendsmith Requiem. I know most lists are not on 2 Requiem. We are playing 2 in case one gets interacted with. We'll always have the second one. Again, we are playing a light Fiend deck, so the second one is pretty much always going to come up. And if we're going first, we're just going to go max and then link the max off to make the Requiem. So no need for Closed Sky here. We're also on 1 Fiendsmith Sequentia. I am going to keep calling it that because that name is a lot cooler than this. This is basically a Necrofusion by shuffling the materials from your graveyard back into the deck, as well as it can equip to any non-link light fiend to make it untargetable. So frequently, we're going to be equipping it to the fusion monster Disarray, but if we are not, we can also equip it to a magical musket monster to prevent it from being interacted with in a meaningful manner. We are also on 1 Muckraker from the Underworld, a fiend super staple, 1 Unchained Soul Lord of Yama, as well as the Rage to pair with it, just incredibly strong. If our plays have been interacted with, we can always pivot into Yama plus Rage, and Yama can bring back any fiend, and Rage can add, I believe, any fiend from your grave to your hand. Just a great way to put Fiendsmith back in your hand so you can search for another musket card with track. And then we are planning on going Rage into SP Little Knight, or we could even, we can't go Rage into it, but we do have a very cute card. We have White Woman Jump Scare. We can often put a lot of bodies on board that don't really do anything, but the main thing that we have an issue with in this deck is big, unaffected bunguses, and White Woman does try to solve the problem. Maybe against Raid Raptor, if they set up their full big board of 1 million towers, we might not be able to interact with it too reasonably, but White Woman can definitely provide some assistance there. That's it for our Link monsters. Now we are only playing 2 XCs in the main. We are playing 1 DDD Wave High King Caesar, just a summon negation using 2 level 6 fiends, just a great card, and 1 Constellar Ptolemy M7. This is a way where if we don't open the Fiendsmith, we can still use the in-hand effect without having to burn our Lacrima effect. So this is a way we can detach the Fiendsmith, add the Fiendsmith we just attached back to our hand, activate it to get tracked, go tracked, add Lurie, special to Lurie, and then make the Link 2. So just a great way we can play off of that. But we are only playing these 2 XCs in the main deck. Beatrice is in the side deck, if y'all are wondering. And then for fusions, we are on 1 Lacrima, 1 Necroquip, and 1 Disarray. Lacrima special summons any light fiend from our graveyard or banishment, or we can add it to our hand. Most of the time, we actually want to be special summoning a musket if we have not already ended with one on board if we're going first, just because the muskets are incredible because they basically telegraph that you'll have musket spells and traps in your hand if your opponent tries to interact with you in any meaningful way, which is great. And this also does do burn when it leaves the graveyard by shuffling a light, when it goes to the graveyard by shuffling a light fiend from your grave into your deck, other than itself. So great way to win in time. Necroquip Princesses are a way to, again, get to our Constellar M7 if we have not opened the Fiendsmith. So really great there. And that Disarray is our way to negate face-up cards. And it also is like a Dingirsu when it's sent to graveyard, which is really nice. But that's it for our extra. We do have our Astolfo token, of course. Now, for our side deck. In our side deck, we are, of course, on that 1 Beatrice that I mentioned, as well as its individual target. We're only playing 1 Beatrice target in the deck as of right now. We are playing 1 Electromagnetic Turtle. This card basically insta-wins us the Tenpai matchup. It ends the battle phase. And once the battle phase is ended, our opponent can't attack anymore, which means the Tenpai player is most likely going to have to make a seals and pass. This is ideally supposed to be Rise to Full Heights. It just hasn't come in the mail yet, so working with Electromagnetic Turtle for right now. We are on 1 copy of Last Stand if we're going second against a trap or spell heavy deck, and 1 copy of Dancing Needle if we're going against a graveyard heavy deck, just cards to side in and take out some hand traps that might not be beneficial in the matchup. We are on double DD Crow. This is kind of a crossout card, as well as if we were playing against another Fiendsmith deck. It's just really good. We are on double Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit. This is for Tenpai, as well as for Yubel and other assorted decks of the like. We are on Bestials, Druisworm, and Magnemite. Great crossout targets, as well as just great cards in general for playing against the mirror. So just great cards. And then for our power spells, we are on 1 Harpy's Feather Duster, 1 Cosmic Cyclone, and triple Dark Ruler No More. We do not plan on killing our opponents, really. No matter what, we're not really planning on killing our opponents turn 1. Instead, we want to get into a position, we get into an unbeatable board state where no matter what, we're able to just keep cycling our muskets, and we're always going to have something for whatever they have. So Dark Ruler is just great for if we summon a musket, Dark Ruler underneath of it, they can't respond to it, and then musket trigger. So just a really great interaction there. But that's going to be about it for the deck profile. I do have a dual replay I would like to show you, so I'm going to toss you over to the me over there. Alrighty guys, so I'm just going to be showing you this quick replay. This is, I'm going to be going second with Musket Fiendsmith, and my opponent is going to be on Snake Eye Fiendsmith. This is game 3 and on best of 3, so let's just see how it goes. So our opponent is going to be starting us off. They are going to be activating Engraver in hand, adding Tract. And then they are going to be activating said Tract, grabbing a Lurry, and then pitching said Lurry to then special summon it. They're then going to go into Requiem, and then go Requiem to get another Engraver. Then they're going to go Engraver in Graveyard. They're going to put back their Lurry, and then we are going to go Bestial Druisworm to banish it. They're going to go Requiem to equip on Engraver, Engraver to send our Druisworm to Graveyard, Druisworm we're going to send their Engraver to Graveyard, and then they're going to normal summon Snake Eye Ash, adding Poplar from deck to hand. Poplar is then going to trigger, it's going to special summon itself, and then Poplar is going to activate on summon, adding the Divine Temple from deck to hand. They are then going to Windmill Slam the Divine Temple, setting the Snake Eye Diabell Star into the back row. They're going to go Snake Eye Effect to special summon Oak from their deck, tributing off the Poplar. They're going to go Oak Chainlink 1, target Snake Eye Ash, and then Poplar target itself. Then they're going to go Oak into Flamberge using the Poplar. Then they're going to go to Underworld Goddess of the Closed Sky, go into Snake Eye Ash and Oak off of Flamberge. They're going to go Closed Sky and Ash into the Fiendsmith Requiem. And then they're going to summon their Disarray. Then they're going to make Promethean Princess, bring back their Flamberge. They're going to make a Phoenix, and then they are going to pass after equipping their Disarray. They're in a standby, or draw phase rather. They're going to special summon their Oak, Oak special summon Ash, Ash add Kurikara as interaction, which is very cute. I haven't seen that before. So we are going to start. We are going to start with a Dark Ruler No More, of course. We don't have to worry about that this array. We're going to go into the Brains and then into a Magical Musketeer Max, so they can't go Promethean Princess. We're going to add 5 cards from deck to hand. 4 or 5. We're then going to clean up. We're going to pop a card, Dancing Needle, their entire graveyard. We're then going to go to Requiem, Special Summon Engraver out of deck. We already have the other 2 Engravers. We're then going to go into Necroquip Princess. We're going to go Engraver in hand just so we can draw an additional card off of Princess. We're going to grab Tract off Engraver so we can get into the Musket portion. We're going to go Tract to add a Caspar from deck to hand. Then we're going to discard the extra Fiendsmith. We're going to go Crooked Crown to special summon said Caspar. The zone doesn't really matter right here. We are then going to special summon a Fiendsmith from our graveyard, go into Sequentia. Sequentia is going to be special summoning. We're going to summon our Disarray immediately. We're then going to go Tract to fuse using the Sequentia and the Caspar into a Lacrimosa. Then we're going to special summon the Caspar from graveyard to Lacrimosa. We're going to equip that onto the Disarray so it can't be targeted and has 2 negates. They're going to send our Lacrimosa to the graveyard. We're just going to shuffle Fiendsmith back just to get an extra material back, and we're going to pass it back to them. They're going to go normal summon Poplar, Poplar effect. We're going to Disarray here. We're going to get their Oak and their Poplar. They're going to activate Kurikara, or rather just special it. They're going to call by our effect of the graveyard. We are going to last stand that. We're going to trigger our Caspar. We're going to add Dock from deck to hand. Then on resolution, we're going to go Crooked Crown to special summon said Dock out of our hand. And we do have the loop here. They're going to go Ash to summon Flamberge. We're going to wait for that Flamberge to activate. They're going to Poplar to set a card. They're going to set the Snake Eye Diabell Star. We're going to go Diabell Star to set the Ash. We're going to go Flamberge to try and set our Caspar. We're going to go Cross Stomp to negate it and put it to 0. Then we're going to add Dancing Needle from our graveyard back to our hand. So this is going to come in really handy when they try and make a graveyard play with Flamberge in just a moment. They're going to go into Requiem into Engraver. Then they're going to go into that to send Sequentia, sending both the Engraver and the Flamberge, which is such a tasty Dancing Needle. We're going to banish everything we possibly can. We banish basically all of their level 1s. They're going to be able to go Sequentia here in order to fusion summon another Lacrimosa. Lacrimosa to bring back their Disarray. Then they're going to just hard make an access code, no links, just to try and pop our board. So they're going to pop our Caspar, they're going to special back Fiendsmith, they're going to go track to make another Lacrimosa, Disarray effect to send another card we control to the graveyard, sending our Dock to the graveyard. They're going to swing for a lot, but not lethal. They're going to pass it back to us, one card in hand. We normal summon, we have a DD Crow. We're going to go Fiendsmith in graveyard. We're going to put a Max back, I believe. We're going to special summon that Engraver. They're going to special summon Ash. Let's let them do their thing. They're just going to add an Ash. They're out of targets and deck since we banished them all. They can't recycle them. We're going to normal summon our DD Crow. We're going to go into Requiem. Requiem's going to summon another Engraver just to get another resource in graveyard. We're then going to go into Sequentia. Sequentia is going to activate. We're going to fuse into another Lacrimosa. We're going to go Lacrimosa effect. We're going to special summon from our graveyard a Caspar, and then we're going to go Dark Ruler No More to trigger that Caspar to add a Calamity. We just need an extra name because we want to keep this Caspar around. We're then going to special Calamity with Crooked Crown since we normal summon the DD Crow. We're going to go to Max to add 3, adding another Dancing Needle from deck to hand. We're going to go into Muckraker from the Underworld. We're going to pitch the least useful thing, Cross Domination, add back another Dock, so we have our loop back online. We're going to pop their field spell. We're going to Dock to add back that Cross Domination we just discarded. We're going to equip that onto Caspar, so the Caspar can't be destroyed by card effects, and also we're going to equip the attack gain 1, so it actually can beat over Access Code Talker. When's the last time you saw a Magical Musketeer Caspar beat over an Access Code Talker? And we're going to pass it back to them. They got 3 cards in hand. One of them is a Snake Eye Ash. They're going to normal summon the Ash. We are going to Cross Domination, target Ash. And then Dock Effect is going to add Last Stand from graveyard back to hand. They're going to Anima, and then they're going to realize they cannot target my Caspar. But that's going to be about it for the video. Thank you all so much for watching, if you still are. And I'll be seeing you all later. Bye-bye. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. If you wanted to talk to more Yu-Gi-Oh! Players like yourself, I would highly recommend checking out our Discord server. Link is going to be in the description, as well as the QR code on screen. We do talk somewhat frequently about Yu-Gi-Oh! And the current meta, so I would really enjoy to see you there. As well as we do recently now have channel memberships available on our YouTube channel, where we have 3 different tiers. We have Super Supporter at $2 a month, where you get loyalty badges, emojis, guaranteed comment responses, a shout out at the end of every video, as well as access to the members only Discord channel, where you get early sneak peeks at future videos. There is the Giga Supporter at $5 a month, where you have early access to all new videos about a day or 2 before they go up, as well as all the previous offers. And for $15 a month, we do have our final tier, which is going to be Femboy Fanatic. You get a guaranteed customized video every single month, as well as 1 hour of my time. Could be for anything you'd like. You want a duel? Absolutely. You want me to help build a deck? Absolutely. You want to play some Helldivers? Sure. I'll do anything for an hour once a month. But supporting does help me out quite a lot, and it does help me produce all of these videos. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll be seeing y'all later. Bye-bye.